it's almost as if the little bit that was left in me, the Debbie that was deep, 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 deep inside, chained down in a cage under the water. I'm over here like, help me, because almost every night I would break down and cry. Every night something came to, and I'm like, something kept telling my mind, this isn't who you are. And I'm like, oh Lord, forgive me, I repent. I just keep hearing a voice telling me, and I know it was like my spirit fighting, this is not who you are. This is not your life. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. God already told you the plans he has for you. This is not it. What are you doing? That's all I could hear every single night. Lord, out, because on the inside, I was screaming for God, but no one gave me God. So I had to do it alone in my bedroom, drunken and high, to scream out to God to save me. And then the person name who took me, that they exchanged me for, I started speaking. You did this. What have you done? Your mind comes to, and you know this wasn't you, because I'm like, I'm used to being in church. I'm used to carrying a Bible. My mom's a preacher. My whole family's preaching. What are you doing? There's so much that was done from birth that you have to undo. So this is why when people look at certain people that live certain lifestyles and they judge, they criticize, they have opinions, you don't know how many times they broke down in their room crying out to the Lord, save me. This is not who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me. And out of nowhere, while I'm under the water, the chain broke free. I said, oh my God, the chain broke free. So I started swimming up for my life, because I knew in a dream this was evil. And I knew in a dream, this is where I've been. This is where I've been all these years. This is where I've been, chained up. And when my foot got free, I started swimming up so fast. But then I remembered as I was swimming up, there's so many more down here. It was so many. And I was like, let me go back down and free as many people as I can, because it's so many. They're chained up too. So I went back down there and I unchained like 2, but I didn't have enough time because I'm running out of breath. I have no more air. I just kept seeing spirits, dark spirits. I'm laying down and I'm watching this. And I'm like, oh my God. I started thinking, that's what's all these spirits been in my house. This is what I've been living with. You don't know what someone is battling, you guys. You just don't know. You don't know. Don't judge. Don't criticize. Please pray. And then maybe 20 minutes before I had to, start my hustle, something walked inside the room. Something walked inside the room. And all of a sudden, it's like someone yanked the veil from over my eyes. And my eyes were open. For the first time in maybe 9 years. My eyes were open. I looked around the room where I normally worked at. And I was like, oh my God. Out of nowhere, you guys. I'm over here getting ready to do my thing 20 minutes before, just another day of hustling, and all of a sudden something went in my eyes. I'm looking around and I'm like, what am I doing? What happened? What is this? And that person, for whatever reason, would yell at me and tell me, well, Debbie, you were weak. You can't handle this. I had to take over. So you just shut up. If you knew how to handle this, I wouldn't have to be here. It tormented me. It was scary. It tormented me. And there was times where I accepted it. I could feel it. Where it's like, she's right. I can't handle this life. So you take over and you trust this other entity, this other person, this demon in your mind. You trust them, thinking they're going to help you when they're really there to kill you. And if it wasn't for Jesus coming in and saving me, I would not be here. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Beauty, Brains, and Bible. So, I figured, you know what? I've been YouTubing now a little bit over a year, and I'm like, you know what? It's time to share some of my testimony, okay? So you can really know where I'm coming from, okay? When I do my YouTubing and what really got me into doing the YouTubing, you know? So before I get into that, I wanted to share something with you guys really quick. My daughter, out of nowhere, started feeling some type of level of fear in her room, or just fear. And she wasn't sure where it was coming from. She's 17 years old, and she knows when things aren't feeling right, you know? And I do a lot of spiritual work, tons of spiritual work with my daughter. So she's probably like my best testimony, for one, to be honest with you, because she's come a long way. And she didn't know what was causing the fear to come over her. And I've taught her so much of how to spend time with the Lord, how to speak to the Lord and pray and just give everything to Him, trust in Him, how to rebuke spirits and all of that, right? So the Lord talks to my daughter a lot. And I'm so thankful for it, because He revealed to her what's causing her to have this feeling of fear overtake her out of nowhere. And I'm going to show you what it was in her room that the Lord alerted her to and said, just like He told me, get rid of Juvia's place. He said, this is what's causing you to have fear in your room. And I need you to kick these off of your wall. And I'm about to go get it because I forgot, and I'm going to show y'all what it was. One moment. When she placed these things upon her wall a few months ago, I kind of felt it within my own self, like, I don't know if she should be putting these on her wall. But, I didn't really pray about it, and I just let it be because, it was innocent. It came from her dad. She's, had a little thing going on with her dad where they can relate on some things. So I'm like, they're just bonding. So cool. So this is what she had on her wall. Old school records. Okay. Her dad is a DJ. My daughter's dad is a DJ. And he has tons and tons of records that he no longer needs, obviously, anymore. We're in 2020. They're not really using these things anymore. So he gave it to her along with many others. And she had, her whole room was kind of set up in, like, to give it a DJ vibe, like a music room type of vibe. Okay. And I felt funny about it at first because I'm like, but then I was like, I let it go. So anyway, the Lord alerted her to take those records out of her room. And clearly those records, come on, think about it, you guys. These records have been in how many clubs? So many clubs. And clearly there's going to be spirits that's going to be attached to these type of things, because they were in the clubs. They're used for the world. They're not used for anything of God. And the enemy can connect himself to anything. So she took them down herself. She told me, hey, you want to look in my room, see if you see anything change? I'm like, oh, you took the records down. She was like, yeah, the Lord told me that was what was causing my fear. So this is why it's so important to have a great relationship with the Lord, because He will warn us of these things. So, if I were you, I'd look in my kids' room and take down little stuff that is really tormenting their mind, that can cause them, to miss the mark, to cause them to have fear and anxiety, depression for no reason. You're doing your best with your child. You're home with your child. You're not neglecting your child. And yet they're still battling some things. It could be reasons like that, So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought that was so amazing that the Lord alerted her to that. So I'm probably just going to end up giving them back to her dad or trashing them. But anyway, also, as part of my testimony, I'm going to get into the testimony right now. I'm going to share things with you guys little by little because my story is so long that it would just be too long of a video. So I finally decided to open up and share a little bit more because that's what the Lord has always wanted me to do. He wants me to be very transparent. This is what we agreed to before I even started the whole YouTubing and trying to do anything with ministry. The Lord said, I'm gonna need you to tell your story and be transparent. And I've run away a lot from that. You know, I've made notes, but I've never recorded it. So today I felt like, you know what, this is the day that I'm going to share some. So I'm not going to start from the beginning of my story, my testimony, but I'm going to share with you guys the beginning of the end, the ending of all the things that I've been going through, and then I'll go back later on in other videos and share other things. But one thing I wanted to share was the words that are spoken over our lives, you guys, is 1,000% so real. So please do not be a mother that speaks negative words over your children. Please cherish the words that you say. Be very, very careful because it's depositing seeds into their spirits. Like an evil seed was deposited into mine as a child. And what I'm speaking about is I have 3 other siblings. So my mother has 4 children, 3 daughters and 1 son. I'm the youngest daughter, and we were all nicknamed when we were growing up. Okay, my people are Haitian, and my mother gave all of her 4 kids a nickname. Okay, and they all seem like really cute nicknames, innocent names. Okay, and for all of our lives, we've always referred to these names. My mom will just randomly call us these names, or we'll play around and call each other these names just, for kicks. And up into a year and a half ago, only a year and a half ago, you guys. So I've lived with this name all my life. Up until a year and a half ago, I was visiting my mother's church, and I think they had some type of an event going on. And one of my siblings, I don't remember which one, called out that nickname across the church. Church was pretty much over, and they were calling out to me. And the nickname that I was given was Shun. Like I would spell it Shoon, for instance, Shun. So one of them yelled across the church and was like, Shun. So I looked up to answer them. And right when she said that name, my sister, this woman who was a member or a visiting member, I'm not sure, at my mom's church, she was like, hold up, what did they call you? I said, Shun. And she was like, don't you ever let them call you that again. And she was like, do you know what that word means? I'm like, no, that's just a nickname. I've been called it since birth, And she was like, that name in Creole means ugly. And it brought so much stuff to life for me. As you begin to spend time with God, pieces of the puzzle begins to fit in as to why did I turn out this way? Why am I so different? Why am, I'm nothing like my siblings? Why do they have their lives more together? Why did my life take an evil turn? And we were all raised in the same household, and you guys are flourishing. You guys are doing better, for instance, and just different. You guys didn't indulge in a lot of the mess that I did. I've always questioned that, to myself, like, what happened to me? We started off the same. We went to church together. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the same stuff pretty much. I was just more active as a kid, more of like a tomboy. But it's like, what happened to me? Why did my life take an evil turn? It starts there when people speak evil words over your life forever. I mean, literally a year and a half ago. So when she told me what it meant, my insides dropped. I'm like, I've been being called ugly all these years? A mother can nickname her child ugly? And I'm like, my goodness, I was born into this world. We're already coming into this world as sinners. We have to fight for our salvation. But then to have the extraness, working against you. And I was like, I told my sisters, I was like, don't ever call me that again, please. It was never their fault. They didn't know what it meant. At least I don't think they did. And all these years, I would think at some point you would stop calling your child that a bad nickname, a bad name. But no, my mother continued to call me that until I said, don't ever call me that again. So for me, because you guys know I like to investigate, go deeper, I'm like, well, let me find out, exactly the words that's related to ugly. Because these are all spirits that we're fighting. Unsightly, appalling, repelling, uninviting, unlovely, dirty, messy, nasty, foul, scandalous, sorry, wretched, dark, evil, angry. And I'm like, oh my God. It all started to come together. No wonder I've had scandalous moments, messy moments, dirty moments, all of that. I've battled all of these things, not feeling lovely, not feeling pretty. I barely even knew my worth up until maybe 2 years ago is when the Lord really started revealing to me my worth, how much he loved me. You know what I'm saying? I had so many years, I could not even look in the mirror because I just never liked who I was. I was disgusted with myself. I never accepted who I was. It was just so much. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's part of my testimony, because obviously I'm like, the power of words, it really hits hard when you are a victim of it. Before, I would always see, on TV or people just saying it, oh, you're worthless, you'll never amount to anything. I'm like, whoo, I bet you they got some demon they battling, and didn't even know that words were spoken over my life too. And I feel like it was the Lord that finally said enough is enough. Saw my attempts of trying to fight for my salvation daily for so long. I felt like he put that lady in my path to catch that word, because if it wasn't for her, that word would have still been planted in my life. I literally, after finding out, had to, pray against those evil words. I had to uproot it. Up until maybe a week or two ago, I'm still praying, because I'm like, you know what? I got to make sure I sever the root to ugliness, because a lot of things come from the word ugly. Just think about the word ugly. Okay? Just think about it. And so I really feel like it was the Lord that was ready for those those evil deposits to be uprooted out of my life. I had to reject that word. I had to refuse it. I had to reverse everything evil that was connected to the word ugly that impacted my life. Okay. So I could imagine if I wasn't spending time in isolation, being next to the Lord, where my life would have been today compared to where it is right now. I really don't feel like I would even have started a YouTube channel and speaking for the Lord and speaking as passionately as I am today. This is why I fight so hard and sometimes I'm a little too aggressive maybe for some people, but when you come from where I've come from, you don't have a little aggression. You're going to have a little holy aggression. So as far as my testimony, I did a video, you guys, where it's titled, I Opened the Door to the Devil, Evil Visitation, Divine something. But I'll put the link up. And definitely listen to that, watch that video, because it goes into details of how there was a divine appointment, evil visitation actually, in a divine appointment where Satan comes in for payment. Okay, he has a calendar. The demonic world has a calendar, and there's a set date that he comes for his payment, and it could be death, it could be poverty, it could be he robs you of your marriage, it could be you miscarriaging often and don't know why. Why one moment your life is going smooth and then all of a sudden it takes this evil turn. That's because there was a divine appointment, an evil time on Satan's calendar that he had to come for payment. And it's not always payment because of something you did. Oftentimes as generation, where you were sacrificed as myself. Okay, the Lord revealed to me how I was sacrificed as a child. I'll share that with you guys on another video. So these are things that I've been battling and fighting through for so long. In the beginning, didn't even know the severity of my case, my situation, until while in isolation, God is revealing things to me. Okay, this whole process started maybe 15 years ago. And just last year is when I'm finally beginning to walk in purpose. So when I opened the door to the devil, okay, on that video, the Lord spoke to me. He told me my purpose. But on the same day, the devil came, and that's when he started his process of robbing me of my purpose and my destiny. And it's been a tremendous battle since. Okay. So when I opened the door to the devil, within maybe 6 months later, I can't really remember, that's when who I was taken away. Debbie was gone, you guys. I was no longer there. There's a thing with the Marine Kingdom, for instance, where they will rob your spirit and put you in a spiritual cage, and people think it's you, and it's really not you. It's the other person that the world created, that Satan created. You know, that's, just like almost like the Illuminati, when they're like, oh, that's a clone, they took her, she's gone. That's a real thing, you guys. And some people don't come back from it. Some people, once your spirit is taken and caged, they don't know how to come back. They don't come back. I feel like I'm one of those very rare, special people that just, the Lord had tremendous mercy upon me. And for whatever reason, I was brought up in church. Okay. I was a Bible toting type of female. In my early 20s, I was always going to work with my Bible. I didn't even want to sit with people during lunch to hang out and just chit chat, because I'm like, I just want to be in the Word. So I was in Sunday school. I was a Sunday school teacher. I was a drummer at my mom's church. I was baptized at 16 years old, catching the Holy Spirit. I already told you on the last video, rebuking demons, my first demon as a kid. And so I was always really, really heavy into the Lord, really, really heavy. I always had a passion for the Lord. But then when that appointment time came, the devil was like, we got to go, guys. We got an appointment with Debbie. There's nothing you can do about it, especially if you're not spiritual, if your spiritual eyes are not open. That was the day when the devil came and I started my whole messy life. It was at some point in time, the devil places an evil veil over your eyes. You go blinded and you don't even know when the process starts. It's just that as you're living, you're seeing your life change little by little, and you don't understand why. You're thinking it's just you. You're thinking it's because, oh, I just want to change my style. I just want to do this. You know what I'm saying? Or you're just being a little rebellious. No, it's not even you. It's not even you. Okay, so all of a sudden, always working a regular job, I found myself hustling. I'm not going to go into the details of the hustle, what it was. I'll share that, later on. But I found myself hustling. Something I never thought I would do. And I just end up, it's like my whole life went like this. What I knew got shut off. And then this whole new world was presented to me. A whole new world was presented to me. I was doing things I never thought I would do. Ever. And when you're in that, it's like a sunken place. When you're in that sunken place, it's like you can see what's going on, but you can't stop it. When the devil robs you of your destiny, he stole my life. He was trying to derail me, and he did that. He derailed me for years. I left the good Lord for at least 7 years. 7 years just gone into the world, heavy. And the thing about it is, you don't know that you're gone. You think it's just a phase. The devil even changed my name. My name was changed. I was not Debbie. Debbie didn't resurface, you guys, until maybe I would say 2013 is when I came back to myself. And that's when serious isolation began. That's when it all started taking place. That's when I say 2013, that's when I started living in isolation per the Lord, stripping me of all the mess that the devil dragged me through, all the mud, all the filth. And it took a long time. I really feel like I'm not even supposed to be a person that should be here. okay? Or should have made it this far, or to even be talking for the Lord right now. I know the devil planned to kill me many years ago, but grace has brought me this far. God saved my life. And this is why I'm so passionate. The devil went as far to change my name. He created a whole new name for me. He gave me his identity. Okay. The devil took Debbie. Before I even knew anything about the Marine Kingdom, when I started coming back to my senses, because I had an experience with the Lord, I saw me, Debbie, in the middle of an ocean. I didn't know anything about the Marine Kingdom. What they do is an evil exchange. The devil exchanges you, who you are, Debbie, your spirit, robs you and places a whole new identity on you. And you become a whole different person. And this is bondage. You don't know, you have no control over it. You see what you're doing, and there's times you don't like it, but you can't stop because you're gone. You've been robbed. He's trying to destroy you. When the Bible says kill, steal, and destroy, this is real. He steals your identity to destroy you. Okay? His goal is to kill you. And he starts by removing who you are. Okay? If you don't know who you are, how can you fight for that person? How can you fight to be something that you don't know you are? That's when God has to come and tell you, Debbie, you are called to do this. And when he told me on that day, that divine appointment, this is who you are. You know what I'm saying? And the devil said, no, you're not going to be that. Knowing that same day when the Lord told me who I was, that's when the battle of my mind began. I knew I was doing everything opposite that the Lord told me to do. I heard the Lord say, Debbie, you're going to go do this. But then when the devil came in on his appointment and totally flip-flopped my life around, I went that way. Because this is what I'm seeing. We'll only trust in the things that we see. We're so used to living in the natural, okay? And not setting our eyes on the things unseen, not being spiritual, that this is how the devil gets away with murder. Because we're too busy living in the natural, where we're oblivious, instead of the spiritual, where we learn truth. The natural world is deception. It is all lies. And a lot of people believe it. And the longer you believe it, the longer you are deceived. And the devil is going to destroy you and kill you. Okay? He changed my name. And when I researched the name, and I'll share the name, some of you already know, but I'll share the name on a different video. But when I researched the name, it was connected to Satan. It was like a nickname to a full name that I never knew. As I'm doing my studying and researching, I was like, oh my God, I about wanted to throw up when I saw what that name meant. I was like, man, I ain't supposed to be here because I've been set up really, really bad to fail. Really, really bad to fail. My name was changed. He changed my name. He tried to disfigure me altogether. I end up getting piercings, my whole face, you guys, and you probably wouldn't even believe it. Looking at me now, my whole face was pierced. I had dermals running all up here, like 5 dermals running all up my face, and the scars are still there, really small. They've been, slowly going away. I had the piercing up here. The scar is there. So mind you, right here, I had this pierced. Right here pierced. So just try to picture a piercing, one of those balls right there, like a dumbbell looking thing. 5 diamonds right here. Diamonds right here. My tongue is pierced. Ears all pierced. Went as far as piercing, of course, belly button pierced. Then at some point in time, that wasn't enough. I changed my hair, okay, to going emo, I guess. Colorful hair with the streaks, or colored hair, the short bobs going to the side. I had an emo phase. From the emo phase, it went to more gothic phase, where I bought gothic clothes just to try to go a little bit more dark. Okay, so Debbie was just gone. Okay, this new person was being, created. The world, what Satan wanted. That person belonged to the world. And if you belong to the world, you're going to end up dying. Okay. You're just going to die. So of course, at some point out of nowhere, you guys, it just kept getting worse and worse. Out of nowhere, I didn't have any tattoos until my late 30s. Okay. Late 30s, never considered it, never thought of it. Just one day out of nowhere, it was around a birthday, and I don't even celebrate birthdays anymore, but it was around a birthday, and I was like, I'm going to get a tattoo. And I got such a good deal on the tattoo because I knew the guy. He was coming over to my house. So it's like the devil made it so easy. I'm not saying tattoos are evil. I'm just saying they're not really necessary. You know what I'm saying? Look at us. We don't really need that, It's just not necessary. But I'm not saying it's bad, but hey, it all happened during that phase of my life. Today, would I get a tattoo? No. Do I regret the tattoos I have? Yes. Do I regret ever getting piercings? Very much so. I regret everything. And I go to get a tattoo. It starts on the thigh. All I know, you guys, just to do a little bit on my leg or something like that, it turned into the whole top thigh. My whole right thigh is tatted up. That wasn't enough. Went all the way through my back, all the way through my shoulder. So I literally have a tattoo that goes from my left shoulder diagonally down my back, all the top of my tailbone, all the way to my thigh. So from the back side, I am like almost fully tatted, you guys. And I put the name right here on my back. So it's like the devil has to seal what he's doing. He has to seal it in. And of course, the partying, the drinking, the promiscuity, the messiness, it was just the clubbing. I wasn't a good mother. All I knew was to take care of myself, and I'm hustling. The devil put a lot of money in my face. And though I didn't go out there wasting it, I did waste a good amount. That's going to happen because, the Lord ain't going to let you get too far. If you have a calling, he's not going to let you get too stuck, even though I was stuck, but not too stuck, because how else he's going to get you? Because there was Jesus in me. There was Jesus in me. So some people will take hustle money and go blow it. But I actually took a huge amount of my money because I was never really into the designer stuff like that. I did take a huge amount of my money and I saved it. But when you're living in that dark world, who cares about what you're saving? Because it's going to all go through your fingers eventually. And that's what happened. It all went through my fingers. So the most money I've ever saved in my life, when I think about it now, I'm like, my goodness. I could have had a good business right now, but your mind ain't right. Your mind is taken. It's not you that's living. It's the demon within you that has taken over this new identity. And you are in a sunken place watching this from behind, but don't really know how to save yourself. Don't know how to save yourself. Okay? All kinds of spirits were put on me. The devil even went as far as putting a lesbian spirit on me. Battles. When you're in his world, he can do whatever he wants to do to you. Whatever he wants. And living this messy, dangerous, disgusting life, barely having any boundaries, anything goes type of life, I would hustle all day with a bunch of friends. Hustle all day for hours, making so much money. And I made so much money that you would think when you have this amount of money, you'll travel, you'll live life, you'll take your kids out. No, because what happens is when you're making that much money, just taking a day off, 3 days off, you're thinking about how much money you're losing. So I got trapped. I barely even lived. I didn't go out like to explore life, to make myself better. No, I kept making myself worse. I didn't spend time with my kids like I should. We didn't take any trips. We didn't do anything. That money didn't go into like a savings account for them, college fund for them, nothing. It was all completely wasted. A lot of money. And we would hustle all morning throughout the night, probably be done 10, 11 o'clock at night, from like 9 in the morning till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And it wasn't consistently, but we was in hustle mode the entire day. And at the end of my night, it's like when the world got quiet, when everyone was gone, when I was done hustling and it was just me, it's almost as if the little bit that was left in me, the Debbie that was deep, 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 deep inside, chained down in a cage under the water. I'm over here like, help me, because almost every night I would break down and cry every night. Because once all of the noise was gone, all of the action was over with, and you're by yourself, something came to. And I'm like, something kept telling my mind, this isn't who you are. And I'm like, oh Lord, forgive me, I repent. I just keep hearing a voice telling me, and I know it was like my spirit fighting. This is not who you are. This is not your life. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. God already told you the plans he has for you. This is not it. What are you doing? That's all I could hear every single night. And because that voice was so loud, it was almost like Debbie was like, stop, give me back my life. I would fall into a prayer, breaking down, crying. I mean, you guys, I had so many nights where I would literally just fall to the ground on my knees. God, save me, help me. And a lot of those prayers, you guys, I was high, tipsy, because at the end of the night, I would always smoke and drink. Because during the day, I never ate. I never had a huge appetite. And if I tried to smoke during the day, it made me lazy, it made me sleepy. So I never, made it a habit to I was never one of those people that smoked all day. But I would smoke at the end of my night, so that way I could eat, because it helps my appetite. And I used to be super skinny, so that helped me out a lot. And I would drink some. I literally drank from maybe 6, 7 in the evening all the way till I would go to sleep. And I would save the smoking for the end of the night. And there's times I'm literally, you know how you kneel before your bed? I'm like, I can die in this. If I die, I'm going to hell. I was so afraid. Imagine living your life in total fear, not knowing when you're going, if today will be your last day and you know you're going to hell. You know what kind of fear that is? Knowing you live in a terrible life, totally against the Bible. And you know if you die, you're going to hell. Oh, that's going to break you down a few times. I broke down many times in front of the bed. I'm trying to pray. But again, I'm high. I'm sleepy. It's the end of the day. I drank. So I'll catch myself. Lord, help me. Save me. And I'll sleep. And I'll be sleeping, you guys. And I catch myself. I said, oh my God. I'm tired of making these weak prayers. These prayers are not going to save me. But I knew the God we serve was merciful. And I knew if I would just cry out in whatever state, if I meant it from my heart, he would save me. He will save me. And if I just kept doing it, I said, you know what? Since the only power that I have is, weak prayers or prayers straight from the heart, where I will break down and cry. Weak prayers where I'm drunk and high, or a prayer where I'm not so drunk and I just fall to the ground and I'm crying. I'm like, this is all I got. No Bible reading, no spending time with the Lord, no going to church, no hanging with people that's going to preach to you and tell you about God. None of that. None of that. Everyone that was around me was everybody that was hustling too. Everyone that was hustling too. And then the ones that probably did know God, they didn't come. They didn't come. You know what I'm saying? I was left like that. There was a time where one of my sisters came over and they all knew the lifestyle that I was living. And she came over one day and I think she was dropping something off or picking something up. As soon as she walked in, and this woman is full of Jesus, okay? Full of Jesus. Very anointed woman. As soon as she comes up my stairs, and once you come up my stairs, is the old apartment I used to stay at, you look up in my bedroom, you can see my bedroom, okay? As soon as you come upstairs, you turn, make a left, boom, there's my bedroom. She saw with her own spiritual eyes, because this is a woman that stayed in the Bible, stayed in church. She got frightened for me. She said, oh my God. This is what she's telling me years and years later, after all of this is like almost pretty much over. She's telling me this, but I'm feeling like, if you would have. She said, while she saw me, I was laying on the bed, and on the bed, she saw this huge mass of darkness, like this black blob, for instance, just crawling and like off my bed, coming on and off my bed, like just this huge blob of spirit of darkness. And it frightened her so bad. And here I am just chilling on my bed, watching TV, so oblivious, not knowing. I knew what I was doing was not right, but I couldn't get out of it. And she tells me this years later, and I'm thinking like, wow. And I was like, but no one came and prayed. No one came to rebuke those demons. And I was always very open and willing, never shut the Lord out, because on the inside, I was screaming for God, but no one gave me God. So I had to do it alone in my bedroom, drunken and high, to scream out to God to save me. Also, while living in this apartment, my doors were slamming every night. The doors would go bam. I'm sleeping and the doors would slam and slam and slam every night and just wake me up, till finally one day I had to come to my own type of thought and say, this has to be a devil. There's a devil tormenting me. And look, I only identified it as a devil when I had legions. I said, there's a devil that's tormenting me because it keeps slamming my door. Because for a while, I just let it go, because I'm like, Then finally, I'm like, oh my God, something's not right. I finally rebuked it, and it gone, and it left. Okay? My daughter said one time she saw someone walking up the stairs, and she thought it was me or her sister, and realized it was neither one of us. So she had moments where it's like, what's going on in this house? You know what I'm saying? So this is when the breakthrough began. I'm in the middle, getting ready to hustle, right? Preparing. And right before it began, I started to work. Right before I maybe 20 minutes before I had to, start my hustle, something walked inside the room. Something walked inside the room. And all of a sudden, it's like someone yanked the veil from over my eyes. And my eyes were open. For the first time in maybe 9 years. My eyes were open. I looked around the room where I normally worked at. And I was like, oh my God. Out of nowhere, you guys, I'm over here getting ready to do my thing 20 minutes before, just another day of hustling, and all of a sudden something went in my eyes. I'm looking around and I'm like, what am I doing? What happened? What is this? And I fell down to my knees. It was so powerful. I couldn't contain myself. What it felt like was Jesus said, it's time to begin the process. It's time to begin to save and rescue you, because you guys, when you are sacrificed and so many things have been done to you, other things, you lose yourself. And Jesus has to come and find you. Lost and now I'm found. And it's not overnight that things get repaired. That's just when the process began. The process began. I broke down. I cried. My eyes were open. And that's when I knew someone stole me, because that's when Debbie came to. And I was like, that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I just felt in my spirit, I was lost in an ocean, in the sea, gone. And it's like I finally came back. And then the person name who took me, that they exchanged me for, I started speaking. You did this. What have you done? Your mind comes to, and you know this wasn't you, because I'm like, I'm used to being in church. I'm used to carrying a Bible. My mom's a preacher. My whole family's preaching. What are you doing? What are you doing? Who is this? When did this begin? It's scary, you guys. It's scary when you have this alter ego, this other person that the world created, that the devil created to destroy you, and you're facing them. And you see what they've done to your life, and you're disgusted. You're lost, you're confused, and you don't know what to do. And that was the day I worked that one more time, and I said, I was done. I said, I'm shutting this operation down. This is over. And at that point in time, a lot of the money had already been blown. I had no money in the savings. It was a slow season. I wasn't really making that much money. It was just enough to continue, but not to, leave. I walked away and left everything behind. The Lord said, leave this. Follow me. Walk away. And I was so overwhelmed, I couldn't contain myself. I was crying uncontrollably by myself. And that was the last day that I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. But guess what, you guys? It doesn't end. It's a process. It's a battle. And when the devil sees that you're trying to leave, when the devil sees that the Lord is working in your life, that you have a chance to be saved, he pumps up the ammo. He ain't trying to let you go, because he was like, that one was sacrificed to me. She belongs to me. She belongs to me. The devil doesn't want to let you go. He came in, the Lord came in that day. What I felt like happened was, I really felt like he took my filthy rags off and he gave me his robe of righteousness. Okay? And that's when all of the isolation began. That's when another level of battling began, because a huge level of battling. Because for one, I was already battling on the inside to take my life back. Okay. And then now when you realize what's going on, because you're no longer stupid, you're no longer oblivious, the Lord has removed the veil. It's now a new battle. Okay. To take back everything the devil has stolen from you. To make sure he doesn't put you back in the cage. Just maybe a year ago or less, I had a dream. And this is what I'm telling you guys, it's a serious process. It's like selling your soul. When you do the hustle life and you take the identity of Satan, not only do you become his slave and he takes your soul, you no longer know how to maneuver in life. You get lost. You get lost. This journey has been so long and so hard. And the Lord starts to reveal to me the spirit world. That's when he opened my eyes to the spirit world. That's when I started seeing things. That's when, the bondage the devil had on me, it started to loosen. The noose around my neck, it's like you're a true slave. He's dragging you around. And it's like that begins to get a little bit looser, a little bit more looser. And to the point it comes all the way off, okay? And yet, the battle still isn't done. There's so much that was done from birth that you have to undo. So this is why when people look at certain people that live certain lifestyles and they judge, they criticize, they have opinions, you don't know how many times they broke down in their room crying out to the Lord, save me. This is not who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me. The Lord showed me where I was, because I knew I was in the ocean, but I didn't know anything about the marine kingdom until I've been in spiritual boot camp, the Lord, with the Holy Spirit. Isolation. I had a dream that I was underwater. And under the water, there was a chain wrapped around one of my legs. So I'm literally underwater like this, and there's a chain So I'm just hanging up like this, but I can't go nowhere. I can't move because I'm chained down. I'm alive, but I'm chained down. I'm stuck. That's what being spiritually caged is about in the marine kingdom. They steal spirits. They steal your soul. They steal your identity. And then next thing you know, one night out of nowhere, you wake up and you're a whole different person and you don't know what happened. You've been stolen. They took you. And out of nowhere, while I'm under the water, the chain broke free. I said, oh my God, the chain broke free. So I started swimming up for my life because I knew in a dream this was evil. And I knew in a dream, this is where I've been. This is where I've been all these years. This is where I've been, chained up. And when my foot got free, I started swimming up so fast. But then I remembered as I was swimming up, there's so many more down here. It was so many. And I was like, let me go back down and free as many people as I can because it's so many. They're chained up too. So I went back down there and I unchained like 2. But I didn't have enough time because I'm running out of breath. I have no more air. Because now when you're set free, you can't breathe under the air. You can only breathe down there in the spirit world and the marine kingdom if they got you. So I'm like, let me go set some people free. So I released 2 people with me and we swam up. And that was the end of the dream. And the Lord's been showing me through my dreams the process of me being set free. So you'll know when your process begins. You'll know what level you're at because there's a whole court system in the spirit world that you must go through. That's why Jesus is our advocate. God is the judge. And Satan is the accuser. It's a real court system. And when you've gone through certain things in life, when you've allowed certain things in life, it ain't easy to get out of some things. It's not easy. And if you don't have people praying over you, over you, going, taking you to church, helping you, mentoring you, counseling you, there's a chance you may never come back. There's a chance you may never come back. Living in that life, the devil, like I said, tried to kill me because I know he wanted to, because out of nowhere, many times during that time of living like that in bondage, I would randomly just get sick. And I didn't know why I was getting sick. But I knew it was not something I could just go to the doctor and be like, I feel sick. So what's going on? I don't know. I'm just sick. And I knew they couldn't diagnose me because I couldn't explain it. All I could tell them was, I feel sick. And then the sickness would be so overwhelming that I just curdle up in my bed in a fetal position for days. Couldn't hustle. I'm like, what is this sick feeling? I didn't know what that was. He made me sick. The devil also, I battled bipolar. I never was diagnosed for it, but I knew I was because the torment that was going on inside my mind was ridiculous. It was such a battle. People would come over and one day I'm cheerful, want to hang. And the next day they come over and I'm angry and I want them to leave, but I can't tell them that. So I bottled it up on the inside. So someone could be holding a whole conversation with me. And on the inside, I'm like, I just want them to go. Just shut up, shut up. That's what was going on in my mind, you guys. Literally, this is what's going on in my brain, in my head. Then the next day they come over. Oh yeah, cool. Everything is lovely. Everything is nice. Then let them come over again. It's like, and they could see it. They could feel it. They could say, like, man, one day you like this, the next moment you like this. And when I talked to like my God brother one day, years after all this was, I was being saved and all of that, he was like, yeah, you was definitely 2 people. But the reason, I'm like, why did you stay hanging with me? Because he was one of those people I was always so mean to. Anytime I would get one of those episodes of just being bipolar, I would always take it out on him. There's always a victim. He always just stayed loving me, supporting me. And I asked him, like, how come you dealt with it? First of all, I know he loved me. Second of all, he tried to just focus on the good times. Because he knew when you're good, and you just normal, man, you good. And he focused on that. But he knew when I had my moments, he would just chill, like, in his own mind, she's having a moment, but she gonna be over it, and we're gonna be back laughing and clowning, because that's my dog. I love her. And he did. Also at night, I was battling voices. I would go to bed. It would take me maybe a couple hours before I fall asleep if I wasn't drunk or high enough. Voices. I could hear full-blown conversations of people. Just hearing them. And it was so overwhelming too. One time I told my godsis, I'm like, man, I be hearing voices at night. She was like, well, girl, next time you hear voices, you know, write down what it say, because I want to know what they telling you, what you hearing. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. And I think I did. And then one time it was some girl talking about being pregnant, another guy. It was just so many stories. I would literally hear two people talking, having a full-blown conversation. At first I couldn't make out their faces. And then as it continued and continued, I saw faces. I was like, this is who's talking. This is who's talking. I knew if it was a white person or a black person. I knew. I just knew. I felt spirits always around me, to the point I was like, Mom, I be feeling like there's spirits around me. And I'm like, but they're not harming me. And she was like, well, we ain't supposed to live among the dead. If it's, you know, something there, you only. And that's when I said, you know what? Let me rebuke it. Because I always felt something like presence around me. One day, as you know, I was having one of my drunken nights, out of nowhere, I lay down, and when you're drifting off to go to sleep, I fell back and I'm like falling asleep, and my eyes just landed on the ceiling fan. I had a bathroom door as well as a bedroom door, and they led into each other or whatever. It was just open. And the process of me being delivered and saved, I knew had begun, because I'm laying down and I started seeing spirits leaving. Multiple spirits, black apparitions coming from the bedroom door and the bathroom door. And they were all just coming out of my house, straight to the door. Through the ceiling fan. I just kept seeing spirits, dark spirits. I'm laying down and I'm watching this. And I'm like, oh my God. I started thinking, that's what's all these spirits been in my house. This is what I've been living with. You don't know what someone is battling, you guys. You just don't know. You don't know. Don't judge. Don't criticize. Please pray. And if you can, go in their house and pray. But if you can't, just keep them in your prayer. Because prayer is what saved me. My family prayed a lot for me. But I wish they would have came inside my house and rebuked some of them demons. Some of them would have gave me some type of relief. Okay? Multiple, hundreds of spirits just leaving, all over, and going straight out to the ceiling fan and leaving. And I knew I had broken into something, some type of breakthrough. Something was happening. It was terrible. And I left everything. The Lord said, leave everything. Don't take no furniture, no bed, no nothing. I want you to start over, because I don't want anything attached to the past, attached or connected to where you coming from. I had barely no money. And that's when the journey really began to get hard for me, because guys, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. I'm telling you that right now. I come from a 4-bedroom apartment, 3 stories, you know, always having good jobs, decent cars. Now I'm boiling, making all this money. And right when the Lord gets ready to rescue me and deliver me, it would be a time where I had nothing saved. Like, I had all this money saved up. And the Lord is like, he didn't save me then. He saved me when the money ran out. Where now I'm forced to depend solely on him and to trust his process. I have 2 kids. Don't know where I'm finna live. I'm paying a high rent. Barely no money. And people always used to come to me for money. Okay, because they knew I was making it. And I knew I was changing my life. And I still gave a little bit of it away when someone needed it. And I just wanted to trust God. And I just knew God was going to restore me. I just didn't know when. So when I left everything behind, that's when I started bouncing from home to home. Within a year and a half, I believe, I lived in like 10 different places with me and my kids. People's floors, couches, me and my kids all in one bedroom, inconveniencing people. And there was a point I even had a dog. I had to get rid of my dog. It was a very hard thing. And God has delivered me from a lot. And on another video, I'll talk more about this, about my deliverance and the processes that he took me through, you know, what we can expect. But it's a serious battle. And I don't know how someone can be victorious coming from these type of lives and really being powerful without isolation. Without isolation. The Lord revealed and showed me during isolation that I was sacrificed. And I knew I was. Witchcraft is in my family, was in my family, or probably still is. So this is one of the reasons why I became a, spiritual investigator, why I call myself that, because I've seen the spirit world. I've seen the transition. I've seen the process. I've seen what Satan can do, where he takes people. I've lived it. I see how I could see the root causes of situation, where it began, how to be delivered and free, self-deliverance as well. I went through a whole deliverance with my family out of nowhere, and I'll share that on a different video. So it's a lot that I've experienced spiritually and seen and lived through and fought through, which is why, I make these videos and I share my experiences, because I want to see as many people set free as I've been set free, because I'm one of the few that's been set free. So many people, you guys, you think it's that person. It's not them. It wasn't me for many years. I'm just now becoming Debbie, where I even like myself, like my name. I think my name is very basic, but I ran away from even my last name. I've just ran away. I've always been a person who's always running away and staying in my own little corner. So one major thing I want to say with anyone that has someone in your family that they're acting out of character, that that their behavior is not them, that they were raised better, they know better, and yet they're not doing better. People that are out here in the streets living, reckless lives. There's a reason behind it, you guys. I want you guys to be able to understand what that person is going through. This is why I'm sharing my story. It's not them. It wasn't me. The real me was inside fighting. When I would break down at night, crying and screaming, that was me. That was Debbie. But then after that moment of breaking down crying, I'd go living through this other person, this false identity, living through that person. And that person, for whatever reason, would yell at me and tell me, well, Debbie, you were weak. You can't handle this. I had to take over. So you just shut up. If you knew how to handle this, I wouldn't have to be here. It tormented me. It was scary. It tormented me. And there was times where I accepted it. I could feel it. Where it's like, she's right. I can't handle this life. So you take over. And you trust this other entity, this other person, this demon in your mind. You trust them, thinking they're going to help you when they're really there to kill you. And if it wasn't for Jesus coming in and saving me, I would not be here. I would not be in my right mind, because my family for years kept calling me crazy. That's another thing. You don't know what this person is battling, and you're calling them crazy. That makes it worse. Just those demons will attach to those words and torment me even more. So I've lost my mind and I'm crazy. But today, here I am, standing strong for the Lord, speaking for God. And this is why I do the videos. This is why He's called me into ministry. And this is why I'm grateful. So I thank you guys for watching this video. And of course, I'm always shedding a tear on every video. But this is part of my testimony. All right, you guys, be blessed. Love you.